us. I am Kay Thompson, and this is
Oh, I'm sorry. Shanita Johnson. How are y'all? Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all.
yes, and this is the latest episode of the Friday Focus, and we have a few. I have a few couple of interesting things that I want to talk about, and Shanita is going to give us a very important update from Fannie Mae that I think everybody will be pleased with. And but I wanted to start with this. I'm just going to get this housekeeping item out of the way. We have asked for the last at least 3 times. I don't want to say in the last 3 weeks or months. I know it's been at least 3 times that those people out there who feel like they need, some additional training and education to reach out to us. Shanita issued a challenge where she said she wanted you guys to just send me an email. In the subject line, all it had to say was real estate mastery. She didn't tell you to write any sentence, uh, give me a list of words or nothing like that. She just said, if you want to participate in this training, that we were actually going to customize to fit your need, that you could do so by sending a message to me that had the words real estate mastery in the subject line. And I have not gotten any response from anyone with that regard. I also issued a challenge for people to go out and just do a little bit of research to figure out what the federal funding rate was as of last week, and to send me a little bitty, you know, um, paragraph or page about, you know, if you thought the Fed rate affected the mortgage rates, why or why not? And I didn't get a response. And that saddens me because I'm an avid learner. And like I said, I know without a shadow of a doubt that in order to survive in this industry, we have to be perpetual learners. And so, with that being said, I, as your broker, am about to take a different approach to how we learn. If you don't want to come to me when I'm offering the learning, then I have to be creative and figure out ways to help you get the learning on your own. And so I think that's what a good leader should do. The chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And so, with that being said, going forward, when one of you calls me to ask me a question about something that I know I've spoken about on this podcast, that I know I've sent an email about informing you about, that I know that I have provided information to you in our agent learning database, which I sent a link out for in your emails. You should have in your emails. I sent it out yesterday. I will no longer be just answering your question on the fly, because that is not serving you as a professional, and it is not serving the consumer, the clients that we have in our industry. In order for us to navigate these changes that are about to come, because we think commissions was the end all be all, it was not. There are other changes coming down the pike as well that I am not even going to mention, because I want you to go figure out what they are. Um, but I'm saying all of that to say that I will no longer just hand out answers to questions that I know there is a resource for you to go look to find the answer. I think that's more than fair. And like I said, this is not to punish you. This is really just to get you engaged in learning things on your own and being confident with the information that is out there. Because Lord forbid something happens to me and I'm not able to answer my phone. Or, something happens to Shanita, because I'm sure y'all are seeing her face and you're getting used to her. Something happens to her that or Tennille even, or whomever, Malcolm, Lydia, it doesn't matter. Like something happens to a leader that you're trusting to provide you with information, and for whatever reason they're not able to do that, then you are stuck between a rock and a hard place with your client. That affects the view of your business and the view of our collective business as a whole. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that. So that's what we're going to do starting today. Well, actually, after you get this podcast. So if you don't watch it and you trying to figure out why is this lady not giving me the answer right when I call her, I'm going to refer you to this specific episode so that you can see I gave you fair warning that I wasn't going to do it. Now, we're going to move on. That being said, I actually think the information that I was going to bring about or share today should follow the information that Shanita is going to share. I think they all tie in, and this is some interesting information that I think everybody should be aware of that's out there. So go ahead, Shanita.
Yes. So last week, the Federal Reserve reduced the interest rate, the Federal Reserve interest rate, a 0.5%. While the Federal Reserve interest rate does not directly affect, I mean, while that rate is for, that's the rate that banks lend money to each other, right? The overnight deposits. That's what that is. It does influence other markets, but um, it's not just because that rate drop doesn't necessarily mean that mortgage interest rates will drop. It'll influence it, but it doesn't have a direct correlation. So like I said, it dropped. They dropped it 0.5%. So now it's at 4.8%. And so last week, looking at the Freddie Mac interest rate, last week it was 6.09% for a 30-year fixed rate. This week it's a 6.08% interest rate for a 30-year, right? So as we can see, I mean, even though it's been 2 weeks since the Fed reduced their rates, the mortgage rates, while they are declining because it is down almost 1% this time last year, but it's not dropping it drastically like some people may have been alluding to. Yes, it influences the mortgage interest rates, but it doesn't directly. Like just because that interest rate, that doesn't mean that mortgage rates will drop. So it could be depending on how you look at that. We all know as professionals that when interest rates are low, home values will increase. So if you have buyers in your pipeline that you're talking to and they're still saying, well, I'm going to wait for interest rates to drop, or, oh, I heard that interest rates drops, be sure to explain to them that it's not a direct correlation, although it does influence mortgage interest rates. But it's still the best time to buy is today, right? Today is always the best time because the longer you wait, then we know if interest rates drop further, drop below 6%, more the home values will increase, and we see that. So that's all I got on interest rates. Just knowing the difference so we can articulate um, appropriate information to the public, to the people who entrust us to be professionals in this craft. So, and then if you don't know, talk to a lender because they know, right? Whoever your trusted mortgage lender is, talk to them and ask them to um, break it down for you or explain it to you so that you can be able to articulate it to your customers and clients. So that's all I got about interest rates.
Well, thank you so much for that. And like I said, that gives a good segue into what I wanted to share, which was that even though the Fed rates do not necessarily have a direct correlation to the mortgage interest rates, as you so eloquently explained, that doesn't mean that you can't go to your lender, your clients can't go to their loan officer to figure out if the shift in the markets in general is going to have some effect on how they can do business with your client. So I had two people go to back to their lender because the Fed fund rate dropped, and one of the lenders, well, one person only got a minimal bump in their they got a minimal bump in what they were approved for because of their income, because they still had a debt to income ratio situation that they need to work on. The other person, though, doesn't have any debt, just doesn't have any. And but his income, well, his income was such that it was if they had given him an amount, that was over what he had at the time that he applied, then it would, just the mortgage itself would increase his debt to income ratio to a level that put him outside of um, where he personally wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like in terms of how much money he was spending on the mortgage. It was never, his case was never one where, I don't think, where he couldn't get an increase. We actually moved him from one lender to another lender who gave him a bump, but he went back to the second lender and asked, okay, with these Fed rate changes, um, is your company doing something different to help people who feel like they're in a place where they have a pre-approval but there's not any housing? And this loan officer worked the numbers, and my client actually went from being approved for 240,000 to 300,000. Now, with that, he was willing to put down a little bit more of a down payment than he had originally said, because he actually moved home from his rental. He moved back in with his parents. So he was able to be saving, so that he could add to the down payment. But overall, one of the primary factors for him being able to get the increase in his mortgage or in his loan amount was the fact that the rates had changed. And also, I wanted to point out, I know I tell everybody, hey, there's lots of information out there that you can use to figure out what's going on in terms of the markets. And I wanted to, I don't know if people can really see that, but I printed these out just to kind of show you guys that this is another report that you can get from NAR Realtor. Uh, I just really don't think people are paying as much attention to these as they should, these reports. But these reports, I have three. One for Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas, because that's where we do most of our work at. And these are called the economic impact of a typical home sale. So these are reports that where there's studies that are done that show how real estate affects the gross domestic product for the state. And so in Arkansas, the real estate industry accounted for $26.6 billion, or 15.1% of the gross state product in 2023, having a total economic impact of $80,200. Income generated from real estate industries was 27% of the total impact. It was $21,650. Expenditures related to home purchase was $5,460, or 6.8% of the total impact. The multiplier of housing related expenditures was $13,010, or 16.2% of the total impact. And new home construction was $40,090, or 50% of the total impact. And with real estate industries, we assume that commissions, fees, and moving expenses, or income related industries associated directly with the purchase, are about 9% of the median home values. And then expenditures related to home purchase, furniture, remodeling expenses are estimated to be about $5,460, based on the National Association of Home Builders data. So um, that is very interesting. In the state of Mississippi, the real estate industry in 2023 accounted for $21.7 billion, or 14.8% of the gross state product for 2023, having a total economic impact of $76,500. And of course, for the great volunteer state, the real estate industry accounted for $82.5 billion, or 15.8% of the gross state product in 2023, having a total economic impact of $118,500. So it's great to know what is happening, in terms of, listings and sales in our industry. But it's also, I think, as a professional in the industry, very enlightening to know how the work that we do impacts our gross domestic product, and to have that be broken down by state is also much, 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 much better. Shanita, I think, had a little technical difficulty, so she's probably going to get back on. There she is. She's in her car. She had to leave. I forgot about the baby, our high school graduate. We need to pick him up from school. So she's back. So yeah. So what I was just explaining, Shanita, was that I was explaining to them what the economic impact statements are, where they can find them. You can find them under research, the research tab on yourrealtor.com. And I also wanted to point out something that Richard Scarborough, I love that Richard communicates with me like from 200 miles away. I love that when he sees something that he thinks is good information for an agent, he makes no bones about sharing that with me. So I'm always excited. And maybe Richard knew also that I'm not paying attention to what's going on in terms of foreclosures and what's for sale, as maybe some of our other agents are. So this is what he sent me on Tuesday. He said there's a HUD REO in Germantown, and then he said he said there's a REO there's a HUD REO in Germantown, and he said right now the property is set up for owner occupants, but it would be a good deal for somebody if they have to live there for a year, or it's a felony. So basically, what he's saying is there is a house on HUDHomestore.com. I did go and check, and sure enough, there is a house in Germantown that is listed for sale. It is waiting for an owner occupant right now to come in and purchase it. The owner occupant would have to live there for a year in order to avoid being charged with a felony for moving out or renting it to someone else. But if no one purchases it during the time frame that is open to homeowners, then it will be opened up to tenants. I mean, not to tenants, but to investors to buy it. I'm gonna tell you right now, Germantown is like Richard's sweet spot. So if y'all don't jump on it, he's probably gonna do it, and add that property to his repertoire. Which brings me to the idea of what is happening with foreclosures and whether or not we're going to see an influx of that. So we have been so enthralled, I think, Shanita, with what's going to happen to our industry over these commissions, that I think people have kind of, dropped the ball on looking at, I don't want to say drop the ball, but just haven't paid attention as much to what's going on in that realm of our industry, foreclosures. What information do you have or have you seen recently, if any, that relates to that? I just was able to pull up some things this morning to kind of get a grasp on what's happening. I do know that there is some organization, I think I can't remember the name of it, but They've been around for a while now, trying to solicit agents to take advantage of working with home buyers who want to purchase foreclosures, but never really saying a lot about the inventory that's there for that. So, have you seen anything? Can you hear me, Shanita? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, I think when she gets settled, it'll probably be easier for us to hear her. I think she can hear me, but I can't hear her. So when she gets settled, she'll come back and I'll ask her that question. I'm sure she'll have an answer. I do want to say that there was a tiny little increase in the number of foreclosure or in the amount of foreclosure activity that we were seeing, say, in the previous 3 months. That would be, well, actually, the previous 3 months prior to this one. So that would be um, um, August, July, and June. But I'm looking here now, and I see that foreclosure activity in the U.S. has declined both monthly and annually in August, actually. So there is a company called Attom, ATTOM, that is a leading curator of land and property and real estate data and analytics. They released their data showing that in August 2024, the U.S. foreclosure market report shows that there were a total of 30,227 U.S. properties with foreclosure filings, default notices, scheduled auctions, or bank possessions. And that was down 5.3% from a month ago and down 11% from a year ago. Foreclosure activity has remained relatively steady in recent months, with both foreclosure starts and completed foreclosures declining in August. While overall activity is significantly lower than in the peaks seen during the 2008 financial crisis, when filings exceeded 300,000 per month, the current economic environment, coupled with rising interest rates and affordability challenges, suggests a continued focus on potential housing market instability. Now, I do want to say this. I don't know if everybody's paying attention to what's going on in our current political landscape. Um, I have been listening to all the candidates that are affecting my daily life, that whose work, I should say, could affect my daily life. And I can tell you that there is talk from certain candidates about improved ways that they can work with home builders to improve the amount of housing stock that we have available in this country. I can also tell you that there are initiatives that are going on locally in the Memphis area that are going to be geared towards attributing to that, to creating more housing stock inventory. Would you agree, Shanita? Yes, right.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
Okay, okay. Oh,
Okay,
you didn't hear me. Okay. So what I
I
was
didn't hear
saying,
that last.
go ahead.
You said about the political landscape locally. The last
Yeah,
part.
there are initiatives that they're trying to get underway to help improve the available housing stock that we have in our local markets.
Yeah, and
Um,
so there's a pilot program. The meeting for that is next week.
I think it is.
For with the local housing, uh, Memphis Housing Development. I can't think of the whole acronym, but
Housing and Community
director.
Development, HCD.
Yeah, Yeah, Director Ashley Cash and real estate developers, and there's a meeting next week about how to increase the housing stock for middle income,
Right.
low and middle income buyers in our market. So yes, there are things being done. Mayor Young has, that's one of the things that he, in addition to the crime, he is talking a lot about increasing the housing stock here in uh, Memphis. So yeah, there are a lot of things in place already, and there are a lot of other things coming down the pipeline. So I am
Absolutely.
excited to see um, how we can help in that way. So
Me too. I'm excited for that too, to see how we can help. And I also want to point out that there is a report. I saw this two places actually. One in the research on NAR Realtor, and I know I have asked people or encouraged people, and I don't want to say asked, encouraged people to go and subscribe to some of the other news, real estate news publications that are out there. There is also a story that was posted recently by Emmy News that shows, because I know a lot of people are afraid when they hear middle, low income housing, affordable housing, that scares people. I want to dispel one myth right now, which is that affordable housing, all the housing that they build using affordable housing programs is designed for these really low income and middle income people. Even though the idea in mind is that it be used for them, a lot of the funding from affordable housing programs goes to build these luxury apartments and stuff that people can't afford. That's number one. Number two, when you look at affordable housing that is built and truly intended for the middle class family and the low income family, those homes actually bring value to the neighborhoods that those homes are built in. So I want to dispel that myth, at least amongst our family here, that affordable housing and having affordable housing show up in a neighborhood or community is going to destroy it. It absolutely, there is studies and data that show the contrary. So before you just attach yourself to that idea, do a little bit of digging for yourself, and you'll see that I'm right. And so, but those are the people that we really need to be addressing anyway. It's middle income families, our middle class, and our lower income producing families. And I also really think that in our market, more than in a lot of other markets that I have traveled to and with agents that I've had to work with, or that I've come across by being at some event or whatever, is that we ourselves, our a lot of our real estate professionals here, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We are telling people, or not, I don't want to say telling people, but our perception of a property carries a lot of weight with our clients. So we're not necessarily out here saying with our mouths, don't live in this neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't the best area. I could tell you, I've seen several properties. I'm going to say three in the last month and a half that were excellent properties. And I know that those properties probably didn't get the traction that they could have gotten if they had just been in other areas. One of them is a house that was a totally renovated house. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, it had a new kitchen. It had a whole new bathroom that had been added to the property, and then they had added another bedroom. But it was all done in such wonderful taste. And it was a property. I don't know if it's still for sale or not, because I showed it a few weeks ago, but the property was on Walnut Street. which is off of the Jackson Avenue, like going towards just going towards like I guess that would be Jackson and Highland right there where I don't know if you know where James Bridge Apartments is, and there's like just past the Scenic Hills neighborhood off of New Allen Road back there. Oksana Piven, one of our agents here, she's a top producer, has been for years. She's, I call her a quiet storm because you rarely hear from her, but she works all year long, her fingers to the bone, and she always has renovated properties, and they're always renovated so nicely and with such good taste. But I think a lot of times people look over those type of properties because of the zip code they're in or whatever, you know. And I just think that does a disservice to our people, especially these first time home buyers out here who want something that looks modern, but they don't have $400,000 to spend on. You know what I mean? We should be talking to them about how to build generational wealth. You stay here for a few years, you know, until you're able to take the next step towards what you really want. You can do so many other things with this property after you move on from it. You can rent it out. It can become an investment. It could, you know what I'm saying? Like there is something to be said for having those kind of conversations, and I think locally we need to start doing that. There is another property my good friend at Ready Team Realtors has right now, and it's crap. What is the street name it's on? I can't remember the street name it's on, but I'll tell you where it is.
It's on Harris Street.
Harris Street. Thank you. It's in the Cherokee neighborhood. Which this neighborhood, I was over there in the morning, and I was over there in like dusk, and neighbors came out and greeted me. They said hello. All the lawns are manicured. This was a corner lot house. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It was totally updated in terms of paint and flooring, and it had all new stuff, new AC units, new cabinets, new everything. And you know, people are not showing it, and it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that's only listed for $145,000. Where in this city can you buy a totally renovated home, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, for less than $150,000? Got any answers, Shanita? I don't
Cherokee.
know. Cherokee. Thank you.
So if you're not familiar with the Cherokee area, it's near University of Memphis.
Yeah.
The Robin Hood Cherokee area that's near the University of Memphis.
Yes, and a lot of that area is well maintained. It is a mixed it has a mixed population. It's close to a lot of things. You're minutes from downtown, minutes from the expressway. I mean, you know, there is no reason why we should not be promoting that, especially if we know we have buyers in our repertoire that need something like that. You know what I mean? I just think that we need to change our narrative around that. There are ways for us to get more inventory, and there is inventory popping up. I own a condo, and around the corner from where my condo is has been a vacant lot. It's been sitting there for, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I remember a house burning down off the lot. I just don't remember. I know it's been at least 5 years. And the condo that I own is over off Winchester, near Winchester and Mendenhall. And somebody's actually building a house back there, you know, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. But you know, and the person told me, like I said, well, I'd be happy to list it for you. And he was like, when I'm done with it, you know, I want you to keep checking on me. We'll get it listed. But the challenge is going to be, you know, changing the narrative for a person to, you know, find that property acceptable. We have got to stop allowing people to believe that, you know, we have got to get them to start seeing these opportunities differently, is what I'm saying. Oh, hey, Jeremiah, I saw him get in the car. And so that is what I wanted to say on that. I just want to let you guys know that. I wanted to dispel the idea that because it's affordable housing, it's going to be it's a detriment to the community. That's not true. And that I wanted to point out that there are properties out there that are being renovated and brought back to life in these communities. That is inventory for us to sell, and for us to be helping people to get on the path of home ownership and, in line with being able to build generational wealth. And I am not going to, I was going to talk to you guys a little bit about something from this book, but I'm not going to do that today because I think based on what we just laid on at your door, that's enough information for you to absorb. I really do want you guys, if you haven't already, just to go and buy this book. It's by Les Giblin. It's called How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. I am going to talk about it next week, and we're going to talk about how bruising somebody's ego is, in a lot of cases, for a lot of people, worse than shooting them in the kneecaps, and why we need to not do that in order to have effective communication. And if Shanita doesn't have anything else, we could probably round this one out. She doesn't. She doesn't have anything else good. So until next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Make sure that you are doing what I said, which is going out to research your own answers before you call me. Because I'm going to send you to do the work yourself before I provide you with the answer. Because I want everybody to understand how to find information and how to apply to your individual real estate transactions. We're going to do that if you come along with me or if I have to push you to it. So now we're at the pushing phase, and that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing you to it like a conductor pushing a steam train, towards its destination. And, until next time, take care and have a great weekend and sell something.
Have a good weekend.
Bye. And thanks, Shanita. Thanks for being so flexible. I really appreciate it.
I forgot the day of the week.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Our babies come before anything. So I'm happy to be able to see them. And congratulations, Jeremiah, on graduating.
Thank you. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.